Hello. Thank you for listening. This is the near death experience of Justin, and this experience occurred between November 28th and December 5th of 2004. Open quote. Following an accident, it is difficult to pin down exactly when during the following week that I had the experience, as I was in surgery much and also in a coma for the following week. I do remember being transferred from one accident and emergency hospital to a specialist unit as the medics could not help further, and after being resuscitated and deteriorating further as part of the experience. The ambulance that took me by police escort to the specialist trauma surgical team drove for a distance up a motorway at night. When I awoke from the coma, I had a clear recollection of flying above the scene, looking down, going backwards, looking down on the ambulance, keeping pace with it. I also remembered clearly a family member in the front of the ambulance going with me being sick into a bag. This was verified afterwards, and the only part of the experience that I can put an actual exact time on. The following experiences in memory don't seem to be linked as following on directly from that. I remember clearly, though, initially being in a very big void of darkness. There was some danger or negative aspects slash beings slash entities involved, but I do not remember seeing or experiencing them, just being aware of them. Then I moved quickly to a warm and absolute feeling of love and light. On the way through to it, I was stopped. Some beings, both what seemed like beings of light and love, and some family members who had passed away, were in a semicircle, and I stopped just before them. They looked, the family members, as they did on earth, but were not material, and all had much light, calmness, and serenity about them. I saw my auntie, who died at age 7, 1 year before I was born. I described to family members the exact clothes and certain jewelry she had on the day she died, which was confirmed. It was impossible to have this information without seeing it. They seemed to be welcoming me. The beings of light with them seemed not to have ever been in a material body. They could be described as angels. However, they had no wings, but I can understand where that comes from in history. The love radiating from their hearts was so powerful and large it surrounded their upper body almost like wings. This bit this bit is a bit blurred. I seem to leave them, but I don't remember moving before coming back to them later. I went to the light, which was above them, and it was just pure, unconditional love and acceptance. As I moved toward it, I felt no fear, but do remember saying or thinking that I was sorry for anything wrong I had done in my life. At that time, I then experienced a partial life review. Many events in my life I experienced, but not from how I remembered it, but from the point of view I experienced it from how the people, animals, and environment experienced it around me. I felt it as my own. The times I had made others happy and sad, I felt it all as they did. It was very apparent that every single thought, word, and action affects everything around the entire universe, and indeed, us, including trees, plants, and animals too. I have been a long term vegetarian since about 18 years old, and I know this was appreciated and is a good choice in life. Spiritually, it seemed to show proof of respect for all life and even seemed to balance some of the negative and wicked things I have done in my life. In the life review, we judge ourselves. No one else does. The light or God did not. But with no ego left and no lies, We can't hide from what we have done and feel remorse and shame, especially in the presence of this love and light. Some of the things in life we think of as important don't seem to be so important there. But some of the insignificant things from the material human perspective are very important spiritually. After this review, there seemed to be some kind of balance that I had done wrong. However, I had done much good too. And as I was genuinely sorry for those things, I then started to get closer to the light again. It is beyond description. The love, acceptance, and oneness of everything is so profound. Then, though, and I am not sure if this is just a disjointed memory or if it happened in the timeline like this, I was back with the semicircle of beings and family. I seemed to be looking up at my grandfather. He had so much love and light about him for me. He wanted me to go with him, but I knew I had to go to the light, not with him. He seemed sad, but still full of love for me. As I looked up, a tear fell from his right eye, as if he would miss me. This is why it is disjointed as below. I seem to be practically next to the light or love. I hesitate to use the word God at it as it is non-judging, and we create our world more than I realized before. We can create a heaven or hell depending on what we do in life. Surely the starving fields of Africa, with children dying hot, arid diseases, war is hell, and the joyous bliss of love and helping is heaven? We create this, not someone else. Also, God is a separate thing. This love and light, to my experience, was oneness, something in all of us we block out, as I will describe further now. I was ready to start to merge with the love and light, but not fully, and seemed to for a while, though time does not exist as we experience it here, the feeling of oneness and love and bliss and knowing is profound. I knew if I merged totally, I would disappear, would become one with it and all. Being so close to it and bathing in it was an experience that can never ever be put into words or described properly. As I was resting close to it and getting closer and closer, basking, I became aware of the earth way down below me, us. I was at that time asking many questions which were answered. Anything I wanted to know and understand. I remember clearly understanding everything. However, this information seems to have been blocked upon returning to material form. But I know I understood all then. Seeing the earth, I became aware of several things. I could see many other spirits, beings who were also leaving their bodies and moving away from the earth. However, many of them in their spiritual bodies seemed to not be able to see the light and love above. They had almost like clouds above their heads, like clouds blocking out the sun. It's still there, but we can't see it. I was very aware that those clouds were their thought and feeling patterns. The more angry, hateful, bitter, etc., the bigger and darker these clouds, which is just another description for their minds. The more negative ones also seemed to be looking down, not even up. I could experience their feelings, anger, etc. I wanted them to look up and see the love and come to the light, but I couldn't get my message to them. This is part of the experience that is not nice. Those negative beings seemed to come from the earth and go down away from the light. I was aware of them going to a void slash darkness slash suffering, or perpetual round and round in circles in their own experiences or mind of the negative record player, almost habits of thoughts and feelings. I was aware of them going somewhere like hell, but I was not allowed to remember it, or it has been blocked from my memory. The love and light didn't want them to experience that and was doing all it could to let them come to it, but they could not or would not accept or see it. It was obvious they were creating this experience, not a separate devil or God punishing them. Maybe their life review filled them with so much remorse they had to punish themselves. Maybe in the life review they did not feel any remorse, or just felt anger at when others had felt good in their suffering or downfall. I do know, though, that it was their choice, their creation, not a separate God's choice or devil. I never experienced any type of separate devil or being calling them. They just could not see the light. Their minds or hearts were obstructed by their current and past thoughts and habits. It was there so bright and obvious to me, but they just could not see it. Maybe it was where I was going, or what I experienced in the beginning when in the void and seemed aware of some negative entities slash beings. I am no saint and have done much wrong in my life, so I do not understand still why I was never like that myself. Some were coming to the light or looking up, had no dark swirling or just a bit of energy above and around their heads. But from what I remember, only a really small percentage, maybe 1 in 100 or less. I am still worried to this day about the following, as I am scared to become one of those who couldn't see it. I became aware, too, of beings, mainly human, on the earth, still alive, and could see this either clearness or light about them, or dark, swirling thoughts, energy. Again, very, very few seem to be positive. A few, a couple in each continent, seemed to be material form and able to see the light whilst alive. They were looking up, smiling, aware of it, with no dark negative thoughts or energies around them. Maybe 10 or 20 in the whole world. The rest of humanity had a mixture, but most were looking down and had much darkness about them. I then understood at that time that this is an important time indeed on the earth. There are other planets and other beings out there, but for humans on the earth, this is a very important time. We seem to be on a precipice of either total destruction, or a better way seems to be on a razor edge. This love slash light is not going to do anything to us or smite us. We do it all, and we create it all. We choose by our love for others and helping, or selfishness. I was made aware of some things coming up, very important, but this again was blocked. It seemed as if two scenarios could play out on Earth. One of them made me so sad, but again, I can't remember it. It is blocked. Whilst watching this, which probably happened in less than a second, as time is so different there, I was getting closer to the light, but turning away from facing it, watching this on the earth and souls leaving the material. I had a feeling of such love for all beings and such sadness at the pain and confusion by those who couldn't see this love and light, but had died, and those on the earth suffering. These emotions were so unlike anything I've ever experienced, so strong, and I realized too that our emotions, that love and compassion, is what ultimately holds everything together. All is love, but like the clouds of energy above many, we just don't see it. It does not mean, though, that it doesn't not pervade all that is and is in every atom and molecule. My heart seemed to leap out, wanting to help ease the suffering of what I could see. I just wanted to help, to let all experience some of this love and light that I was basking in. With that thought, the experience changed immediately. I felt like on a roller coaster, falling over the top, moving faster than light itself. That was the last of the experience. I woke up from the coma in December 2004, about a week after the accident. I had been resuscitated a few times. I also had emergency surgery a few times. It was said I would never walk or talk again on December 3rd, even if I survived. I walked unaided out of the hospital with no drugs or support package on December 23rd, 2004. The stats for my mortality were 75% day one, 90% in following 2 to 3 days, yearly 20 to 30% mortality every year since 0 to 5 chance of communicating / walking again thereafter, then with difficulty. It took me a year of many, many repeated tests and such like to persuade the driving authorities in the UK medical department that the recovery had happened. I have a letter from their medical department stating that even though what happened, it is obvious this is the case, and I have again a full driving license. I experienced an epidural hematoma 3 times. I was not found until at least 5 hours after the event and already at Glasgow coma scale of 2 to 3 when the paramedics arrived. I had half of my skull removed to deflate the pressure and to access the bleeds, which made me crash 2 times within admittance to the specialist department. These events are very dangerous anyway and carry a high mortality and long-term disabilities. To say mine was at the extreme end of such an event is to put it mildly, as it was 3 times and initial surgery did not work and the length of time until treatment. The fact I walked unaided with no painkillers and with no support package out of the hospital less than 1 month later, or 2 weeks from waking from coma, in the specialist intensive care unit with half of or most of my right skull removed, is in itself some proof that the events were extraordinary. I did also experience, for a couple days after waking, an awareness of non-material beings in the hospital, the same sort of beings that I had experienced in the NDE. Some beings were bad, some were good. I no longer am aware of them. I could almost see them. Sometimes now I get a feeling that a particularly powerful, good or bad one is near. End quote. Wow. It's specifically descriptive on so many things. And basking in the light, that's just a great term. And how about hell? And the people going to hell or not seeing the light because they have the cloud over their heads. They can't see it. There are a couple questions here. Let's see if we can find. Question: did scenes from your past come back to you? Answer: my past flashed before me, out of control. Everything that you do to others, you will experience yourself from their point of view. There is no you and I, just all is one. But in this lifetime, our perception limits it to our experience of this body. We are all, quote unquote, God, experiencing itself from different points of view. Animals are important too. They feel. All beings that feel pain or pleasure are in your hands. It is the right thing to do to never cause pain or be violent. Always show compassion. Love others as you love your own eyes. Question: did scenes from the future come to you? Answer: blocked, unaware. However, have had some quite strong intuitive / psychic at times. No control over that. Always right. No such experiences, though, for past 1 or 2 years. What was your religion prior to the experience? Answer, liberal Roman Catholic. In the youth, lost faith in the teenage years of organized church. Strong, though continuing beliefs, Buddhism and karma. Currently practicing karma, Kegu, Tibetan Buddhist. Question. Did you gain special knowledge? Answer, yes, but it has been blocked mainly, mostly that everything is love, and we stop ourselves from our habits, thoughts, words, deeds, and actions from experiencing and seeing this. We can, as humans on this earth plane, if we work at it properly, experience this love and light of the popular God while incarnate. The choice is ours, not some separate being entity. Nothing is hidden. There are many beings, both good and bad, watching us at all times. You are never, all caps, alone. So your secrets, good and bad, will always come sooner or later. Question, was the experience difficult to express in words? Answer, yes. Words cannot convey most of what I experienced as there is no language to describe it. Also, names, language, and labels separate things into this and that. The biggest part of the experience is oneness. So words do not convey this. Even oneness implies something else, which is false from that plane or state of experience. Question, is there anything else that you would like to add about your experience? Answer, unconditional love is the only truth there is. Following the NDE, I had many supernatural, psychic, and other similar experiences increasing over time as I searched for the source to find the taste of what I experienced in the light and love I was merging with before I returned, both in religions and paths, including Tibetan Buddhism, mediumship, shamanism, and the New Age. I traveled and spent a lot of time in India, Nepal, South America, Asia on formal meditation and retreats, trainings, empowerments, and pilgrimages, and time with quote-unquote gurus and teachers, spending most days 6 to 7 hours in formal psycho-spiritual practices, etc., of many different types. I was having very increased contact and communication with the spiritual world, and apparent spiritual gifts or siddhis were manifest, increasing, and proven many times in many different continents to many different people. However, as this continued, troubles, difficulties, and repeating negative events were manifesting in my life and to those around me. I was warned when looking at the image of Jesus Christ on a picture of the Shroud of Turin to stop and not do something. This experience was similar, but much more clear and stronger than the mediumship and guides and deity communication which I was having, which had proofs of knowing of people's lives and relatives, past, present, etc. I ignored it and went to find more gurus, Gnosticism, for a few years. The warning turned out to be very, very true, and all the quote-unquote helpful and enlightened and love and light that was communicating with me with proofs never mentioned it, and I was being led to real danger in every way. Searching for on my internal and external journey for repeated, not fairy tale or Chinese whispers, though wanting repeated proofs of the path that showed since the teacher or founder of that path to now, of those who follow it with scientific, repeated, and consistent evidence of it. I was drawn through the Medical Bureau of Lourdes' miraculous scientific approved cures and the events of Fatima to revisit my original religion, Roman Catholicism. The saints have for millennia, and did recently since Jesus healed the sick, raise the dead, have authority over the laws of nature, breaking physics at times. Those without pupils in their eyes see, such as Saint Padre Pio, as certified and shown if you care to research. I couldn't ignore this and the warning I received that manifested. I returned, and under much penance and being in grace after the sacrament of reconciliation, and meaning it, I experienced during the receiving of the most holy sacrament of the altar in communion something similar to what I experienced, though briefly, of what I was merging with in the NDE. Also, the so-called guides, helpers, spiritual new age entities, I was receiving gifts, CDs, and such like info on the past, present, mediumship, etc., were not happy at all and started to, in fact, work against me a lot in every way. They are really, though, they come as an angel of light, those things I saw that were not nice, taking souls down. Many times since, if I am truly in grace, that is, confessed of all sins properly, received reconciliation, have no desire, plans to, would rather die as such to sin, have prayed much, done fasting, penance, done everything to change the habits and what is wrong in my life, mind and body, only interested in my relationship with God. I have experienced, when receiving communion of the Holy Sacrament of the altar, the exact same taste, nature, feeling, experience that I did during the NDE when I was merging with that love/God. I can testify that all the bliss of higher yoga, tantra, very profound meditative compassion practices, all the feelings, emotions, energies of all spiritual entities that came to me in my searching, none of it even comes close to what I experienced of the NDE was. The only place I have experienced it is being in grace, being a very serious, not part-time, very traditional Catholic, fasting, prayer, penance, and receiving the Eucharist of the Roman Catholic Mass, if you are in the right place yourself, is exactly what I experienced in the NDE. I have had to battle much to stop the tricksters and lure of supernatural entities and their gifts, powers, etc. Since doing that, I have since now occasionally had communication help from the true guardian angel. All you read in modern culture about angels is untrue, the work of the tricksters, like mediumship. True angels, unfallen, are very serious if loving, very traditional, not new age, and are, as in the Bible, not anything else. They will, if real, admonish and be prepared to humiliate you if you are offending God and demand reparation, if you really want to not fall after death to hell. They are interested in your soul and God, not your ego or what makes you happy from window shopping of being spiritual, not religious, and our other prideful ways. In the original NDE account, I stated there is no heaven and hell. I should have proofread it before submitting. That was not info from the NDE. It was the things I was studying, like at the time, my spin on it, like quote unquote, the secret, all is mine, etc. in the experience. I clearly show and state there is a place that souls go down to in a not nice state, and I did not know why I was not being taken there for endless rounds of their thoughts, etc. I see and have been told since that is the teaching of the worm that never dies. That point of the knife edge I talked about will be in your life if you are 50 or under and live a normal lifespan, unless the world really gets its act together and does as asked in Fatima. Anyone who has eyes can see that and ears to hear at the moment. God does not want that. We do create it as such ourselves by us serving the evil one ourselves or not living life as we should. When we offend God, our sins increase. We as a world come out more and more from under the protection of God and the holy angels, and the evil ones have more reign, legal rights, and power. We get what we worship and give power to. You are never alone, not one moment of your life, good and bad in the spirit world. Choose wisely indeed. Be scientific. Find one path religion that has proven nonstop and continued evidence of what was said by the originator in ways that is impossible medically and proves control over the laws of nature. The saints, the Blessed Virgin Mary, Fatima, Lourdes, etc. Nowhere else has it continued nonstop in one path as far as I could find. The exact experience of my NDE, the God experience, losing myself, is found where I said, and nowhere else in any way close to it. Please be aware the evil one is in and trying to take down as well the church as prophesied. To understand what I am talking about in Roman Catholic Church, beyond modern scandals and such, like I am a very traditional Catholic practitioner. If you look up what that means, if interested, it is the difference between night and day. In the Eucharist, if you clean up, get your act together, make reparation, mean it really, it is the peace beyond all understanding. Our Lord Jesus Christ, God made flesh in humility to take us back to what I experienced in the NDE. Daddy, God as such. May God bless, protect, guide you and yours, and have mercy on your soul now and at the time of your death. Close quotes. Whew. That was interesting. Took a turn there at the end, but I think she's doing all right. I thank you for listening.